guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Haley and today I'm going to be doing my physical TBR and sharing all of the books on my bookshelf that I have yet to read. There's actually a ton. This video is probably going to be a little bit lengthy, so sit down, grab a snack. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and let's get into it. I would classify myself as an obsessive book buyer. If there is a sale going on, I'm buying books. If I'm a little bit bored, I want to wander around somewhere, I'm buying books. And I also have an Amazon wishlist where you guys buy me books. So all of these books just kind of add up and stack up, and I will read them all eventually, but I do have a bunch to read. So the first book I have is In 5 Years by Rebecca Serrell, and this one has been so highly recommended. It's also a really short read. It's only 250-ish pages. Basically, the main character spends 1 hour 5 years into the future, and when she is back to present day, she can't shake the life that she just lived. This book is described as an unexpected love story, and I too love a good romance. The next book I have is Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow, and this is another one that was highly recommended. Honestly, I have not started this one yet because it just sounds so tragic and sad, and I feel like I need to be in the right headspace for like a sad read. But the main character of this book is described in pieces. At 17, she's already lost everything that matters. Every new scar hardens Charlie's heart just a little bit more, yet it still hurts so much. It hurts enough not to care anymore, which is sometimes what has to happen before you can find your way back from the edge. Another one from Rebecca Serrell. This is One Italian Summer, and I really wanted to read this during the summer, but it just kept getting pushed off my TBRs, and now we're in the fall, so this one is described as a great love story, a transcendent novel about how we move on after loss and how the people we love never truly leave us, which sounds so beautiful. This next one I just picked up on a whim. I love the title. It's Thank You Next by Andy J. Christopher. The main character of this book is never the one. She's always like the last person someone dates before finding their real true love. So the whole plot of this book is to go on a journey and figure out why she's never the one that's being picked. This is a contemporary romance, supposed to be like a rom-com. It sounds really, really cute, and I love the cover of this one. Next up, I have Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins, and this is a thriller. It sounds really, really good, but when I had shared this in a previous TBR video, I had a few comments that say they didn't love this book, which is why I was like, okay, not gonna read that one yet. But this book is about 6 20-somethings that end up on an island, a very secluded island. When one person goes missing and another turns up dead, it becomes clear that the group is even more cut off from civilization than they initially thought. So it definitely sounds like an entertaining thriller, and I definitely still want to read it, but I have been a little bit less excited about reading it due to the reviews. Next up, I have 99% Mine by Sally Thorne. Sally Thorne is the same author that wrote The Hating Game, and I didn't love that book, which is why I have yet to read this one. But this one's supposed to be another rom-com, and I do usually reach for these books when I'm in a particular sort of mood. I need something light. I have kind of been in my thriller era lately, so I've kind of been pushing romance to the side for the moment. Luckily, I am not in short supply of thrillers. One being You're Invited by Amanda Jayatissa. And this one sounds so scandalous. It says, what could be worse than your ex-boyfriend marrying your childhood best friend? Getting accused of her murder. Then I have The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. This one's described as a dizzying suspense novel about trust, marriage, and what it means to be a family. Next, I have the second and third book from the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. Honestly, probably will not get around to reading these until next summer, but the covers are just so cute. Another super cute cover. The main character of this book has a avoidance to marriage and ends up turning down a proposal from her boyfriend when all of a sudden her best friend is getting married and the ex-boyfriend will also be at the wedding. Throughout her best friend's wedding adventure, she's trying to embrace the idea of marriage and get her ex-boyfriend back. It sounds really cute, and it's described as a celebration of complicated women and a power anthem to live your truth, which I love that. Next, I have The Daughter by Jane Schimmelt. This one I actually just picked up from Half Price Books. This one's about the main character having a missing child. Her daughter suddenly vanishes. Turns into a cold case, but the mom is still constantly looking for answers. And while she's like piecing together all of the missing pieces, she finds out that her daughter is not the person she thought she was. It's described as a twisting, painful journey into the past that will lead to an almost unthinkable revelation. Then I have The Existence of Amy by Lana Grace Riva, and she actually sent me this book. I'm so grateful. This one is about living life with mental illness. This book kind of touches on OCD, anxiety, and depression, so definitely feel like this will be a heavier read, especially since it is like very close to home. I definitely struggle with those things, not OCD, but anxiety and depression. I definitely still want to give this one a read. Then I have Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover, and I took a little break from Colleen Hoover after reading November 9th. I didn't love that book, and it just kind of put me in like I wasn't excited to read another book from her after that, so this one is a brilliant and realistic portrayal of two people falling head over heels in love, complete with all the emotions and complications that accompany it. So you guys will have to let me know where this book ranks on your Colleen Hoover tier list. Do I need to read this one right away? Let me know. Next up, I have 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult, and this was my favorite author in middle school going into high school. But this is one book by her that I haven't read yet, and I think it's just because it's such a big one. I always get intimidated with books that are like over 400 pages, but this book is about a big trial case, and as the trial progresses, the fault lines between the high school and adult community begin to show, destroying the closest of friendships and families. 19 Minutes asks what it means to be different in our society, who has the right to judge someone else, and whether anyone is ever really who they seem to be. When I am in the mood for a lengthier read, I will be grabbing this one. Next, I have Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau, and this is another one that I wanted to read during the summer, but a little bit too late. I absolutely adore the cover on this one though, and it's a timepiece. This one is in place in 1970s Baltimore. The main character lands a summer job as a nanny and is suddenly immersed into this new, different lifestyle, world of sex, drugs, rock music, and group therapy. So this book's supposed to be kind of like a coming of age book, and it sounds so good. Next up, I have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This is the story of an out-of-ordinary heroine whose deadpan weirdness and wit makes for an irresistible journey as she realizes the only way to survive is to open your heart. So this one sounds like a really cute, touching read. And then this is another new one that I just picked up from Half Price Books, and what's really cool is this one is a signed copy. This book is Witch Please by Anna Aguirre, and I thought this would be perfect for either this month or coming into October. This one I will be reading very soon. Then I have two books by Jennifer Weiner, and it could totally be Weiner, but she will always be Jennifer Weiner to me. I'm sorry, Jen. I have Big Summer and That Summer. I'll probably be pushing both of these off for next summer as well. Then I have Run Rose Run by Dolly Parton and James Patterson, and this one I was really looking forward to. I started to see some reviews rolling in about how this one's like a little bit of a slower read, and I just have not been in the mood for that. But this one is another thriller, and I do really love Dolly, so it's still definitely higher on my TBR list, but you know what? I just push books off sometimes. Another summer read, this is by Ellen Hildebrand, and this is 28 Summer. In this book, the main character is a mother, Mallory, who is on her deathbed and leaves her deathbed instructions to her son, who starts to unravel all of these secrets from the past, including an affair. It's kind of based off the movie Same Time Next Year, if you're familiar with that. I'm probably going to savor this one as well. Next, I have Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda, and this one is actually on my TBR for this month. I really love Megan Miranda's writing, and this one's like another domestic thriller, which is one of my favorites. Next up, I have The Attic Child, and I actually just got this one in my book of the month this past month. This one's pretty lengthy as well. I think this one's a little bit over 400 pages. This one is a dual narrative of love, loss, identity, and it centers on two children separated by decades who, bound by a secret, find themselves locked away in the same attic years apart. One child takes place in the early 1900s and the second one is in the 1970s. Honestly, this one sounds really captivating and a little bit different from what I normally read. This one is a historical fiction, which I don't feel like I read often enough, so I am looking forward to reading this one. Next up, another one from Colleen Hoover. This is Regretting You. This story is more about a mom and daughter, and when the father of the family passes away, it kind of unglues what was keeping these two women together. With each passing day, new secrets, resentment, and misunderstandings make mother and daughter fall further apart. So far apart, it might be impossible for them to ever fall back together. It sounds really good. I kind of want to start it this week. I'm almost finished with the book that I'm currently reading. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know which one I should read next after this video goes up. Then I have The New Me by Hallie Butler. And this one is a very short read, under 200 pages. Dark comedy about female rage, cautionary tale, hilarious, intimate, against growing up and making do. This one sounds really interesting. Next up, I have Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I feel like I'm the only person that has yet to read this book. This is another sort of coming of age book, kind of placed in the late 60s. Honestly, I have no idea why I haven't read this one yet, but I haven't. And then another one from Taylor Jenkins Reid is Maybe in Another Life. This book has two concurrent storylines, which I always really like. Quickly, these parallel universes develop into surprisingly different stories with far-reaching consequences and the people around her raising questions, including, is anything meant to be? How much in our lives is determined by chance? And perhaps the most compelling, is there such a thing as a soulmate? This one sounds really good. Next up, I have The Messy Lives of Book People by Phaedra Patrick. The house cleaner of a famous author must carry out her employer's shocking last wish in this delightful new novel. This one's described as the perfect book if you need a lift or to feel better about the world. It's a read in one sitting while smiling kind of story, and that just sounds absolutely precious. Next, I have The House Witch by Katie Schickel, and this one I'll be reading either this month or in October. Perfect for the season. This is a modern witchy tale. It sounds really cute. This is another one that I just picked up from Book of the Month, so this one's new as well. This is The Most Likely Club by Elisa Friedland. At their milestone high school reunion, a group of friends makes a pact to finally achieve their high school superlatives. This sounds like the cutest, like girly pop culture-y sort of read, and it also has an adorable cover, so I'm actually really excited to read this one as well. And speaking of cute covers, I also have Funny You Should Ask by Elisa Sussman. This one is a second chance romance love story, which is one of my favorite tropes. And another favorite trope is fake dating, which is what The Wedding Crasher by Mia Soso is about. This one's a hilarious rom-com about two strangers who get trapped in a lie and have to fake date their way out of it. These books are always so much fun. Then I have Playing with Matches, another really cute cover by Hannah Orenstein. She's supposed to be a matchmaker, but her own love life is going up in flames. One of the reviews on the back says, if you grew up with Gossip Girl and obsessed over The Devil Wears Prada, this is the book for your life now. Honestly, that sold me. Then I have Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. This one sounds so precious and oddly a little bit similar to One Italian Summer. I really am a sucker for cute covers. Next, I have Sweet Little Lies by Kaz Frere. This one's about a detective taking on two cases. While rushing headlong into the investigation, crossing ethical lines, she starts to dig deeper and uncovers some very dark secrets. I do love a book about uncovering secrets. Next up, I actually have two books that are on my current TBR for the month. This one is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix and The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. So another witchy one. This is kind of like a rom-com. The Final Girl Support Group is also supposed to be really funny, but it's another thriller. Next up, I have In a Dark Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, and honestly I had picked this one up because I had seen this cover so many times. I didn't even know what this one was about when I picked it up, and on the back there's no description, on the inside cover there's no description, so really I just purchased this one on a whim. but I have heard really good things. This next one I actually got from a friend. They went to a local bookstore and they had like mystery books. So this was all wrapped up with like a very vague description, and it ended up being The Duke's Disaster by Grace Burrows. And this is not something I would normally pick up, but it sounds really interesting. This one's supposed to be a little bit spicy, so I will definitely update you guys on what goes on in here. And finally, the last book on my bookshelf that I have yet to read is I'll Be You by Janelle Brown. This is a thriller about two identical twin sisters and former child actors who have grown apart until one day one disappears and the other is forced to confront the secrets they've kept from each other. So this one's supposed to be like a very twisty suspense novel, and I love the colors on the cover here. This one is a fairly recent pickup as well. I think I purchased this one last month, I want to say. It sounds really good. So that is finally every single book on my bookshelf that is on my physical TBR. If you guys saw any books throughout this video that you highly recommend that I need to read right away, please let me know in the comments down below. There is a lot to choose from and it's a little bit overwhelming. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!